Welcome to the SailPoint Identity Security Solutions Show, the one place to go to learn about SailPoint's products, solutions, and portfolio. Joining me today is Senior Director of Product Management, Rick Wagner. Rick, welcome to the show.
Hey, James. Good to be here.
Awesome. Well, obviously, Rick, we're at Navigate by the set. We're at Navigate with just all the exciting people here. And one of our major announcements this week was the introduction of SailPoint Identity Risk. And so, Rick, let's kind of dig into that a little bit if we can.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about identity risk. Let's start there. What is it, and why is there so much chatter about it? We've heard it a lot this week.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is with identity risk is, people get a lot of access. That's what we do, is to build this model and make sure people have the things that they're supposed to have access to. But, what is the risk associated with that access?
Right.
People get access to a lot of things, and making sure that we not only have an understanding of what they have access to, but also what risk does that access pose to the organization. And by understanding that, how do we help people reduce that level of risk that could be faced by each individual organization?
Yeah, absolutely. So with that, let's kind of jump in a little bit. Can you tell me a little bit what is SailPoint Identity Risk?
Yeah, so SailPoint Identity Risk is designed to take information from a lot of external systems, just like we do in Identity Security Cloud and Identity IQ, and we bring that information in as additional parameters to really understand. And one of the key elements is how people are using the access that they've been given.
Exactly.
Right? So we take that information as additional context, and then based upon that, we calculate and understand. That's how we calculate this notion of risk, and it calculates a score that helps to define, based upon what they have access to, what kind of risk does that pose? Yeah,
absolutely. And so can you kind of go in depth about kind of some of the problems? Why are we doing this? What are the problems that people are seeing by understanding that risk?
Yeah, the age-old problem, right?
Yeah.
I grant access to somebody, but the constant ongoing question of, are they using this?
Exactly.
How are they using this, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, those are, since basically kind of the dawn of identity, if you will. That's kind of been the burning question.
Yep.
Right. And then if we understand the access and we understand how it's being used, then that helps to determine the risk. Right. And then one of the other important parts of that is, we all know that the problem of over provisioning happens. Especially in the mover part of joiner, mover, leaver. As you move around in an organization, you can acquire some things that you may not be using anymore. Right. That, again, poses a risk.
Right.
So that helps organizations really. That's the exciting thing about this new offering, is giving that level of insight so that it can help customers not only understand what people have access to, or I say people, with machine identity as well.
Yeah.
Because we got to make sure that we include all types of identities.
Exactly.
But how that identity is and what it has access to, and is it using it, and what level of risk does that pose?
Yeah, and that's such a big thing, and I'm glad you brought up the machine identities, because we have another one of these where we talk machine identities. That it's not just people anymore. It's
absolutely.
Machines, service accounts, all that.
And that's one of the nice things about, and how this really fits into the whole notion of Identity Security Cloud and Atlas, is this not only gives the human view to it, it also gives the machine view to it.
Right. Exactly.
And through identity risk, you can look at the machine account and really understand what it's accessing, right?
Yeah.
So when it comes to the machine identity security notions of being able to understand what the machine is doing and who should be responsible for it, which is one of the key features of machine identity security, is to help to pinpoint that. It's nice to see how all of these things come together at the core of Atlas.
Exactly. So I think, and you've kind of hit on it a little bit, and I know we've had a lot of conversations about this week with customers and partners, and even amongst our team, is how would identity risk fit into an organization's identity security environment?
Yeah, and it's been really awesome talking to the customers this week, and there's just been a whole lot of buzz and excitement about it. And really the big feedback that our customers are giving us, and this is the terminology that we heard in our customer advisory board and we heard in our executive roundtables, was just this whole notion of hygiene.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And And it's interesting, right? Because identity security is not a project, it's a program.
Exactly.
Right? And there's this ongoing notion of the access model needs to be adjusted. We need to be able to understand when there's excessive access. We need to also understand the impact of the level of access that certain people need to do their jobs. Right? And this notion of not only being able to understand it within the identity team, right? That's broadening out the communications to the security operations team, as well as helping to bring this level of information into the context that business stakeholders can now understand it, and they get a much better context of the risk that people have within their own departments.
Yeah. I think hygiene, if I had one word for us for this Navigate, hygiene.
Yeah,
data
hygiene. I'll broaden that out to two, right?
Yeah.
Visibility and hygiene. Show me what it is, so that then I can bring that visibility to me. So that then I can apply the hygiene.
And it ties to identity risks that we've been driving towards with this. It ties to machine identity security we've talked about. I'm bringing up all the big hits for this week, Rick.
There you go.
And you've been a part of a lot of them. So, last question.
Sure.
Looking ahead, what are you excited about around identity risk and what we're looking at?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that's excited about it is, we talk about the announcements this week, and one of the big announcements was privileged task automation and the privileged announcements that have come out, right? And privilege is certainly not something that's new to SailPoint.
Nope.
Even with data access security and privilege associated with that, that's the thing that's really exciting, is bringing all of these things into Identity Security Cloud, helping our customers really get that visibility and that holistic visibility, right? So that I can understand the application access, the data access, the privileged access, right? Give that visibility, understand the risk associated of all of that combined, not just in its independent silos, right? It's really bringing everything together into this view so that I can see it, I can visualize it, I can understand it, I can communicate it, and I can better manage it, or at least understand where I have risk so that it helps me kind of, what's my area of focus need to be?
Right. That's awesome.
Not necessarily finding that needle in the haystack, but at least giving me that area of the haystack that I need to focus on.
Got to know that haystack first before you can find that needle. Awesome. Rick, thank you so much for joining us today.
It's been a pleasure being here. It's been a great week, and looking forward to Navigate 2025.
Yeah, same here. I want to thank everybody for watching or listening. To learn more about SailPoint Identity Risk or any of the other solutions we talked about, join us at www.sailpoint.com. Thank you.